The world is full of mysteries, some so bizarre that they defy explanation. We've always loved a good mystery. So from a vanishing village to eerie family breakdowns, today we'll be exploring 5 of the strangest unsolved mysteries we've seen in a while. What you're about to hear are stories that have left even the most skeptical individuals scratching their heads and wondering, could there be more to our reality than meets the eye? Now before we begin, we wanted to mention something. You may have noticed that sometimes our videos just disappear, get age restricted, or simply stop showing up in your feed. This isn't by accident. We've been covering topics that are not always algorithm friendly for many years, and honestly YouTube does not love it when we dive deep into certain conversations, especially the kind that challenge mainstream narratives. So if you ever feel like you're only seeing half of what we're talking about, it's because in one way you are. That's why we've set up a free membership tier over on Patreon. It's a space where we can post the full, unfiltered versions of our content. We're not asking for money, not unless you want to support, but if you just want access to what YouTube will not show, the free tier is all yours, and the link is in the description. It's important to us that we're able to continue producing content that all of you want to see, but at this rate it's increasingly clear that YouTube do not want us to. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you over there. Now if you haven't already done so, hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. Ancient screw found, suggesting ancient aliens or advanced civilization. In 2007, while conducting an investigation into the remains of the meteorite in Russia's Kaluga region, scientists stumbled upon a strange metallic object embedded in a chunk of sedimentary rock, believed to be around 300 million years old. The object bore a startling resemblance to a modern-day screw. It soon became known as the Kaluga screw. The rock was sent for further examination and was dated to the Carboniferous period that was roughly 100 million years before the first dinosaurs roamed the Earth, and long before humanity was even a concept. Photos of the find show a spiraling, thread-like structure consisting with what you'd see in human-made hardware. Skeptics were quick to point out that it resembled the fossilized remains of a crinoid, a marine creature with a spiral structure. However, even among paleontologists, opinions remain divided, and some argue that natural fossilization would not produce such symmetry or metallic appearance. For those who believe in the possibility of ancient advanced civilizations, this discovery was nothing short of monumental. Many out-of-place artifacts have been reported over the years, including nails or even tools embedded in ancient stone. Some of these reports are simply misinterpretations of natural formations. However, in this case, believers claim that the screw is quite distinct from the surrounding fossil evidence. Could it be proof that humans or some other intelligent beings existed and mastered technology hundreds of millions of years ago? As of 2025, the mystery remains unsolved. The Mapimí Zone of Silence. Located in the Chihuahuan Desert of northern Mexico, the Mapimí Zone of Silence, often referred to as the Mexican Bermuda Triangle, is a unique area known for various conspiracy theories, strange sightings, and unexplained phenomena. The Zone of Silence earned its reputation for supernatural occurrences in the 1970s after a failed rocket test by the US Air Force resulted in a significant cleanup operation. Rumors suggest that metallic anomalies, either in the ground or the atmosphere, caused the rock crash and communication failures, which attributed to the area's eerie nickname. Locals claim that electronic devices fail inexplicably, compasses spin uncontrollably, and planes often avoid flying directly over the region. Some have reported seeing unexplained lights, UFOs, and even hearing disembodied voices in the stillness. Additionally, ranchers in the area share stories of glowing orbs appearing at night, disorientating travelers, and tall, silver-suited beings that appear only to vanish moments later. One of the most striking aspects of the zone's mythology is its peculiar silence. Visitors frequently describe an eerie quietness, with no insects, no animals, and not even the wind. Just a barren landscape creating an oppressive atmosphere that many find unsettling. Despite its reputation, the area attracts tourists hoping to experience something supernatural. However, scientists have proposed a more mundane explanation for these phenomena. The region is rich in meteorite fragments and magnetite, which could disrupt certain electronics. Skeptics argue that the tales are merely local folklore gone awry, while others speculate about deeper mysteries, such as portals, test sites, or hidden military bases. Even today, the Mexican government restricts development in the region, making access challenging. It's hard to know if this is just a lifeless stretch of desert, or whether something far more extraordinary is happening there. We'd love to know if any of you have ever visited the place. The Tromp family road trip. The Tromp family were by all accounts a typical hard-working household. Mark Tromp, 51, and his wife Jacoba, 53, had built a successful red currant farm, an earth-moving business on their property in Sullivan, located on the outskirts of Melbourne, Victoria. However, with little warning, on Monday, August 29, 2016, they, along with their 3 adult children, Rihanna, 29, Mitchell, 25, and Ella, 22, got into a car and headed north. When the police were called to investigate at their home, they found that the family had left behind passports, credit cards, and mobile phones. This was to be a cash-only, off-the-grid road trip, ensuring that there would be no way to track them. The only person who took his phone was Mitchell, who appeared to be the only one in the family not swept up in the belief that they were in danger. It was later revealed that Mark and Jacoba had been experiencing increasing signs of stress and paranoia, and had become convinced that someone was out to kill them and take their money. But what were they afraid of? Initial reports stated that Mark believed that they were being watched or followed and needed to escape their protagonists. As the road trip progressed, Mitchell was convinced to throw his phone out of the car window in case their pursuers tracked it. The family drove in Ela's silver Peugeot SUV until they reached the New South Wales town of Bathurst, to the west of Sydney. It was there that Mitchell left the family and made his way back home. The remaining Tromps travelled east from Bathurst to the Genola Caves, where sisters Rihanna and Ella decided to separate from their parents by stealing a car. They drove to Goulburn, reporting their parents missing. At a petrol station in Goulburn, Rihanna and Ella parted ways, with Ella going home to feed her horses. She was the first to be found when she returned to the family farm that night, where police were present. Mitchell returned home the following morning after taking several trains. Meanwhile, Rihanna climbed into the back of a utility vehicle in Goulburn and was discovered about an hour later by the driver, who found her in a catatonic state, unable to recognize her name or location. After increased media interest, Mark and Jacoba returned to Melbourne. The following day, they became separated in Wangaratta, where Jacoba was later found in Yass, 350 kilometers away, in an agitated state. She was hospitalized and later moved to Goulburn to be with Rihanna for continued mental health treatment. Mark stayed in Wangaratta and was seen fleeing from Ela's Peugeot after tailgating a couple. In Sylvan, Mitchell and Ela expressed confusion over their parents' paranoid behavior in an emotional media statement. 6 days after the bizarre situation began, Mark Tromp was found near Wangaratta Airport. He was questioned by police, assessed by a mental health officer, and released into his brother's care. He later apologized for the hurt and concern caused, and thanked the community for their support. Police do not believe there was any real threat to the family, calling the case bizarre. The family later admitted to experiencing overwhelming fear, but could not identify a cause. Their story made headlines across Australia and drew international attention. Some speculated exposure to toxic chemicals, others blamed an internet-fueled mass delusion. But in truth, no one really knows what caused the Tromps to abandon their lives and drive into the unknown. Not even them. The Peking Man Mystery. Peking Man is a significant figure in the study of human evolution, referring to a group of Homo erectus fossils discovered in the 1920s at a site near Beijing in China. These findings provide some of the most important evidence of early human life outside of Africa, shedding light on the development of humans during the Pleistocene epoch. Excavations at the site began in 1921 and were led by a team of scientists that included Swedish geologist Johan Gunnar Andersson and Chinese paleontologist Xu Zhen. Over the years, more than 40 fossils have been uncovered, including skulls, teeth, and limb bones, belonging to at least 15 individuals. These fossils date back approximately 750 to 200,000 years ago, making Peking Man one of the earliest representatives of human ancestors. Peking Man exhibits distinct, morphological characteristics associated with Homo erectus, such as a prominent brow ridge, a long low skull, and a smaller brain size compared to modern humans. However, despite these primitive features, the fossils indicate several advanced traits, such as the use of fire and a variety of stone tools, pointing to complex behaviors and social structures. The crucial implications of the discovery of Peking Man are profound. The site offers crucial insights into early human life, including their diet, which primarily consists of gathered plant materials and hunted animals. This adaptability highlights early human survival strategies in varying climates. However, the excavation of the site faced significant delays following the Marco Polo Bridge incident on July 7, 1937, and the onset of the Second Sino-Japanese War. To address safety concerns, 2 crates were created to store the Peking Man's fossils. They were moved from the Peking Union Medical College to an American bank vault to protect them from advancing Imperial Japanese forces. But as the war intensified, the decision was made to transfer the Peking Man fossils to the United States for safekeeping. The fossils were packed into 2 wooden footlockers for transportation by the U.S. States Marine Corps. The plan was to move them to the SS President Harrison, which was set to dock at a local port close to the Marine base at Camp Holcomb, before they eventually arrived at the American Museum of Natural History. However, while en route, the ship was attacked by Japanese warships and ran aground, and despite numerous efforts, including significant cash rewards to locate the footlockers, their whereabouts remain unknown. Rumours surrounding the fate of the fossils vary, suggesting they may well have been taken aboard another ship that sank, such as the Japanese Awamaru, or even ground up for traditional Chinese medicine. The loss also sparked allegations of theft against Japanese and American groups. In 1947, US Marine Corporal Richard Bowen recounted finding a box filled with bones while digging a foxhole next to some stone barracks in the area. This discovery occurred during the Chinese Civil War, amidst a siege of the city by the communist 8th Route Army, who were under fire from nationalist gunboats. Bowen left the box there, unaware of its possible significance. It's theorized if his account is accurate, the likely location of the fossils today is either beneath a road, a warehouse, or a parking lot. It's astonishing that such an important fossil discovery could be lost in this manner. Although the meticulous documentation of the excavation at the site ensures that this loss does not greatly hinder the study of the fossils, it still represents a significant gap in our understanding of early humans and remains one of anthropology's most enduring unsolved mysteries. All that remains from the original excavation period are 4 teeth that are housed in the Paleontological Museum of Uppsala University in Sweden. If you have an interest in early humans, don't forget to check out our channel, Early Humans. The Lake Anjikuni Disappearance. During the harsh Canadian winter of 1930, fur trapper Joe LaBella sought shelter from the falling snow and biting cold as he approached Lake Anjikuni in the Northwest Territories, where he knew there was an Inuit settlement. As he stumbled into the village, he noticed how eerily silent it was. On previous visits, he had been greeted by a warm and bustling community. However, as he continued, he soon realized that the place was completely deserted. Joe found abandoned huts, smoldering fires, uneaten meals, and personal possessions, including weapons, left intact. As he searched further, it became clear that the people of Lake Anjikuni had vanished entirely. Something must have happened that forced the entire community to abandon their homes. Even more disturbing was the sight of every single dog in the village, all of which appeared to have starved to death. Suspecting that something terrible had occurred, and knowing the Inuit community would never leave behind valuable items for no reason, Joe hiked a few miles to the nearest telegraph station to alert the authorities. Hours later, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrived. They travelled to the village. They were joined by trapper Armand Laurent and his 2 sons, who provided a curious account of what they had observed a few days earlier. They claimed to have witnessed an airborne object heading towards Lake Anjikuni, which seemed to change shape as it moved. If that wasn't strange enough, when the Mounties searched the village and saw for themselves what Joe had described, they made an extraordinary discovery. In the graveyard, every grave had been opened and emptied, with the headstones neatly stacked to the side. How could a community of around 30 men, women and children disappear without a trace, taking their dead with them? The Mounties immediately ordered a search party for the missing villagers, but they failed to find anything. They did, however, discover a pack of tied-up dogs on the outskirts of the village that had starved to death before being covered by snow. They also reported seeing strange pulsing lights in the sky above Lake Anjikuni, although it's worth noting that these could have been the Northern Lights, despite the officers claiming that they did not resemble the natural phenomenon they were accustomed to observing. After a long and arduous investigation, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police used berries found nearby to conclude that the villagers had been gone for almost 2 months. However, it was evident from the smouldering fires and prepared food that someone else had been using the village after the villagers had fled. Ultimately, they concluded that the disappearance may have been a seasonal or permanent abandonment, given the nomadic nature of the Inuit people. However, they noted that it was unusual for the community to leave behind their weapons and provisions. As for the lights and craft witnessed, they were never explained. Many were left with unanswered questions, and several did not believe the official explanation, leaving the case open to speculation. The most popular theory suggests that the Inuit were victims of a mass alien abduction, with the strange aircraft and lights supporting this notion. Others believe that a malevolent spirit, possibly a Wendigo, was responsible. The Wendigo is an evil spirit said to inhabit the forests and Great Lake regions of Canada and US, known for invoking insatiable hunger and a desire to cannibalize other humans in those it influences. Some suggest that the Inuit sky god, Tongassuk, had a hand in the mystery, while other popular theories posit that the villagers were somehow pulled into another dimension. Like many mysteries, the truth about what really happened at Lake Anjikuni has become distorted over time, blurring the line between fact and fiction. Nonetheless, the story remains a peculiar one, without a clear conclusion, whether rational or supernatural. Whatever the truth may be, the mysterious disappearance of the Anjikuni people remains one of Canada's most enduring mysteries, and one that continues to haunt the vast northern wilderness to this day. We hope you enjoyed these unsolved world mysteries. The world is full of these, so if you'd like to see more, let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.